Hello Flosstube, my name is Nick, and this is Flosstube number 3 on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020, and I stitch with Sphynxes every single day. On my last Flosstube, I did get I got a few questions about the Sphynxes. I'm going to answer them. I'm going to leave them towards the end of the video so that if you are here just for the stitching, you can move on to your next Flosstube video without having to hear me talk about my cats. But if you're in for the cats, at the end of the video it'll be. I want to, first of all, welcome the many new people that have joined. Thank you for listening to me talk about stitching. I am excited to make new stitching friends. I want to thank the Pattern Queens. I have not seen the video, but I was told by a new subscriber that they shouted me out somewhere. Thank you, I appreciate that. And a huge thank you to my friend Michelle Garrette, Miss Bendy Stitchy, for her shout out on one of her more recent videos. Michelle and I have been friends for, I think she said 5 years, I don't even remember, but I haven't been able to meet her yet. She lived in Hawaii when we first became friends, and then she moved to Oregon, and then I had a nugget. I was going to meet her this fall at the gathering that Acorns and Threads was having, but sadly COVID has turned that retreat virtual, so hopefully next year I will get to give Michelle Garrette a huge hug, a big one, and she's gonna laugh at how tiny I am, but it's okay. It's gonna be a great hug. So thank you, Michelle, for that. Michelle Garrette has a lot of incredible things going on right now. I mean, I don't know when she doesn't have a lot of incredible things going on because she's just that kind of person. You are awesome. But two big things that she's doing right now that I am super excited about is she has profits from her Etsy shop this week going to Campaign 0. So you might want to check that out. I bought the Rolodex morning sampler this week because MoonShineCrafter made me do it. She posted her sampler and it was just so beautiful and she wore me down. Thanks for the enabling. Someone else who is donating profits from their pattern sales this week is Deanna from Darling and Whimsy Designs. I grabbed her Quaker Puffin, the Porg Puffin. I love Porgs, I love Star Wars. I am very excited to stitch that as a Porg. I'm joining the Porg Puffin Club. And the other thing that Michelle Garrette is doing is she has a Patreon, and she stitched these two birds. It's called Peruvian birds. And I am so excited because the amount of Peruvian cross stitch I have seen, I can count it on one hand. So I am Peruvian. My grandfather is Quechua, which is a tribe that descended down from the Incans. There's not a lot of them, and there's just not, I haven't seen a lot of cultural references in cross stitch, almost at all. So she found a textile in an Australian museum and is basing her newest Patreon gift chart from that, and it's really awesome. You can have so much inspiration from other cultures' art, and I love that you found inspiration from Peruvian culture, and I am going to stitch that later today. I'm going to start. I already pulled my threads. I am so excited. Thank you, Michelle Garrette. So aside from that, I'm going to talk about Stitch Sania, how my May went. I had plans. Some of them came true. Some of them didn't, but I am overall very okay with how my Stitch Sania went. So I'm going to start with whips, which if I had done my plans, I would have 4 whips to show you. I do not. The one whip that I have for Stitch Sania is a club piece from Dying to Stitch. It's called George Decorates for Martha. And funny story, I can't find my whip. Yeah, no, I don't know what I did with it. I looked in all the places that I think it could be, and it's poofed. I'm sure it's gonna poof back. I'm not too worried. But I think I showed it to you guys in the last video, so it's all good. It's okay. So I really only have one whip to show you, and it's not even a Stitch Sania piece, but I worked on it in May, so I'm going to show you. Deanna from ItiskismetStitches and Amy Baruch have a sale going on for the Quaker Seasons of Friendship pattern. It is a crown and thistle design. The ladies at Dying to Stitch created it. And it is a beautiful pattern. It is a sampler, Quaker style, and it has so many little motifs that like I haven't seen in a sampler. Like there's a lobster and a little flamingo, and just everything about this pattern gets more amazing as you stitch it, because there is so much in here you don't realize the detail until you are actually stitching it, which is what's happening to me. So what I'm doing is it's a BAP. It just is. It's really big. Let me see if I have the stitches. 440 by 250. BAP. So I would like to see it finished. So what I'm doing is every Wednesday I work on it exclusively. What I am doing to follow Deanna is I am stitching the season in the season that I am in. So every Wednesday in spring, I am working on the spring portion of the sampler. And when summer starts, I will switch over to the summer season. So this is what I have so far. I am stitching this on 36 count weeks dye work Aztec red. And I think it's pretty awesome. My main color is a classic Colorworks. Cannot remember the name of it right now. This white, it's blanking. It's a very common like eggshell, or I just blank. Somebody tell me what you know. Somebody tell me what color I'm working on. The black is the classic Colorworks Black Coffee, and I'm using the black to really accent things that I want to call your attention to, so that you really see the beauty of the pattern without having to stitch it. And I think it's working out really well. I really love it. Every time I touch it, I want to text Deanna and be like, thank you. Thank you for showing me this. Thank you for letting me join in on your sale. It's the Gotta Have Friends sale. You can check out the hashtag and see what everybody else is doing, because I have, and everybody's got some really fun stuff. Thank you, Deanna. So that is the only whip I have to show you. But I did complete a pattern that was supposed to be a whip. So at the end of each week, my goal had been to start a new piece, work on it for the weekend, and then go back to my main Stitch Sania piece. I did that for week 1, started doing that for week 2, and then I couldn't put week 2 down. So I kept going, and I finished it. It is another club piece from Dying to Stitch, but this is this year's. It is called The Witch's Garden by Pineberry Lane, and I really love this. How cute is this little witch? Her broom is perfect, that little cat. I love everything. I did screw it up a smidgen. That is not supposed to be higher than the border, but that's okay. I left it because I think my actual error was with the bird. and I didn't want to frog them. And the only things I did change were I gave her hair. I didn't like that it just stopped at her neck, so I just poofed it out a little bit. And her eyes were supposed to be French knots. And I don't have anything against French knots. I like French knots. I don't like them for eyes. And the reason is I am not skilled enough to know with 100% certainty that my French knots are going to be the same size. They might be close, but close isn't good enough for me when I'm doing a face. Because if you screw up the face, or if I screw up the face, I feel like I've screwed up the whole piece. So I changed it and just made them X's. And I think she looks cute like that. Look at the color of her dress. How cute is she? Wouldn't you go to her farm and pick a pumpkin? I would. And I'd see if that cat would let me pet him. So yeah, Pineberry Lane, the Witch's Garden. Love it. So, aside from this, I did finish my main Stitch Sania piece, which it was one of my oldest WIPs. It was started back in like September, October 2018. I'm going to see if I can throw a picture in it. Maybe there. We're going to see. If there's no picture there, just ignore my point. I'm going to try, but it'll be my first time, so we'll see. And now it is completely done. This pattern is a Very Merry Christmas Town by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And when I started, I had part of Santa. I had all of Santa and part of this house and this little sign. And that was it. And it was just neglected and it needed love. So what better time to work on it than Stitch Sania? And I finished. So I can have it framed and ready for this Christmas. I did talk about this in another video. I did use the Treasure Braid Gold, which for me I think is the best gold thread that I've found. It's not mixed in with any other color, and I just find that it works a lot easier. I am not cursing at it when I'm using it, and that's a win for me with gold thread. Sometimes I curse at my cross stitch guys. Come on. Tell me you don't. Tell me you've never cursed at your cross stitch. I do. Sorry. So, that is finish number 2. My third finish in May was another SAL that I had started with Kellyanne. I had purchased the pattern before we started this, but I did do the SAL with her. And she finished it way before me. And hers looks great. And I got into a rut. This is Gone Batty by With Thy Needle and Thread. My light is not being nice right now. Let's see if I can throw a white piece of paper. You guys can see the actual coloring. It has been a hard pattern to photograph. The light never likes to work with me. Trying. So the reason I got into a rut with this is because I know myself as a stitcher, as many of us do, right? And a lot of people have issues with certain things that other people find easy. I am not good at stitching large blocks of one color. I don't know why, but it's always been hard for me. I don't know if I get bored or it feels never ending, but I'm not good at it. And I should have known when I saw the pattern that this cat was going to haunt my nightmares. And then I went and I picked a variegated thread for that cat. And then I went and stitched it up and down, up and down, up and down, because I didn't, I thought it would be too much going back and forth like this, right? But the stitches going up and down seemed manageable. I thought it would give him a nice segue of color, which it did, but it felt like I was stitching him forever. And then I ran out of the brown thread. And I didn't know what color I had used. So this piece is mostly color and cotton. I used to be part of their thread club. And I don't know what happened to the thread holder with the name, but I lost it. And when I found it, I really thought it was going to be enough brown to finish the cat. So I went on a brown thread shopping spree because I put too much work into this cat to not finish him. I bought a bunch of color and cottons, and Caramel Brownie ended up being the one that looks closest. You can see, I think it was Caramel Brownie, but I think the dye lot changed. Or in this second skein that I got, it was different, which is what happens, right? It's not going to be perfect anytime. That's why you're supposed to buy multiple skeins of the color at the same time so that you don't have that problem. I got lucky, and I think it's hard to tell. If you scrutinize the piece, you can see where I used the new thread, but I'm hoping that no one will ever be that close to staring at my stitching. So, Gone Batty is done. I'm gonna put him in a closet until I'm ready to finish him. Realistically, I think I might send him to Alissa at Starry Night Studio, finish him. Alissa, can you hold on to him for a long time so I can forget about him and then be excited when he comes back? I don't even need him for Halloween. He can come back New Year's. I need a break. I need a break from him. But I am glad that he's done, and he came out really good. So I'm going to put him down, and I will not complain about him again, and I will think twice before I stitch any other patterns in this series, because I think it'll be the same experience for me. Nothing wrong with the pattern, great design. I just know that as a stitcher, they're not the best pattern for me. But moving on to my very last Mania finish is a pattern by Wild Violet Cross Stitch. It is called Hocus Pocus. This has been another one that's been hard to photograph. My light is actually working really well with me right now. That is a pretty good likeness of what the green is. It is Moss by Picture This Plus. I don't remember the count that it's on, but it is probably 32 because I used 2 strands. The variegations you see in the house and in the smoke, they're also color and cotton. This is actually the same purple that I used in the flowers for Gone Batty. And I really love this. It stitched up really fast. I probably would have had it done faster, but this is my on the phone piece, so I only really stitch on it when I'm on the phone. And it's still stitched up. It felt very, very quick. And I mean, everything, there is so much detail in this. If you know Hocus Pocus, you know Binks, the cat, and this is the black flame candle, which I love. Look at that wheel. It really is a very simple pattern with so much packed in there. I did opt to leave Binks's window without the backstitching because I tried it. And you can see him, but I don't feel like you could tell on mine immediately you can tell it was a cat. And I feel like here you can. And you can kind of see it with the black flame candle that you kind of lose what it is. But I was more okay with losing the black flame candle. I wasn't okay with losing Binks. So I would definitely recommend this pattern. I think this is my first Wild Violet cross stitch piece, but she has others that I really like. I really want to do her Unicorn in Captivity because it's part of the tapestry on Dumbledore's wall. And if it's good enough for Dumbledore, I think that means it needs to be on my wall, right? Like, it needs to be somewhere up there. We need some decoration in here. Unicorn in captivity. Sounds like a plan to me. But I was very excited for 4 May finishes. I kind of can't believe it happened, but I'm very okay with it. So I'm going to move on to Happy Nail and Haul, starting with, speaking of Harry Potter, Deanna sent this to me, and I can't explain to you how excited I was when I got to my mailbox and this was inside. It's just a postcard. It was just a postcard, kind words from Deanna, but it meant a lot. You know, sometimes small gestures are everything, and something as simple as a postcard really made my day. And I love Bellatrix Lestrange. It's a strange, I can't explain it, but I love her. And I don't know if Deanna remembered that, but she was spot on. And I want to thank you so much, Deanna, because you really, really put a smile on my face that day. So, now on to the patterns. I know I said last video I was trying to be good. You wouldn't think so if you look at what I have here, but I promise I'm trying. So, the Prairie Schooler came out with their yearly Santa, and I've never stitched any of their Santas. But this year, look at those bunnies. The bunnies are blowing away in the wind. What? This is so cute! I mean, how could you not want to stitch these 2 bunnies? Santa's like, I got you. Don't worry, Bum Buns. They're just so cute. I had to. I'm very excited for this. Those bunnies stole my heart. And then, because I didn't want it to travel alone, I bought this other Christmas pattern from the Scarlet House. And I just thought this was so cute. I love Christmas. Christmas time is my favorite time of year, my absolute favorite. I love Halloween, but there's something about Christmas. I don't know what it is. It makes me really happy. So I am very excited to stitch this little piece, put it up, maybe turn it into an ornament, put it on my tree. I don't know, but it was cute. And I got them both from 123 Stitch. And then I ordered this from Sweet Girl Studio. I ordered some stockings from Blackbird Designs. I know that they make them for every month. I don't love every single stocking, and I don't love every single month, so I'm being picky and choosy with which ones I'm getting. But I don't see a lot of like birth announcement stitching, I guess, and this was just so cute. And I want to stitch it, put my daughter's initials in there, maybe her date of birth, and for that reason alone, I grabbed this one. And then I think Lindy Stitches, Stephanie Webb, is rubbing off on me with her love of birds, because while I was looking at that stocking, I saw this. How cute is he? You know who would love this bird? Amanda Mae from ArdithDesigns. Amanda Mae, have you seen this? Look at him. He would look perfect in your Valentine's Day collection. And so I had to have him. And like I said, I got that one online from Sweet Girl Studio. Yeah. I think I actually only have one other thing. Alright, maybe I exaggerated. Maybe I am being good. I think I ordered a bunch of downloadable patterns too. Didn't have them here. So, I saw this. I love Plum Street samplers. Love them. And I had never seen this pattern. It's an older pattern. It's from 2020. 2020. When was that? 2010. It is called Hallow Eden. And it's the first time I think I've ever wanted to stitch an alphabet. It is a spooky Adam and Eve. And it's adorable. And it even has a second pattern in it to make it spookier. It's got cats coming out of pyramids. It's got these turned into jack-o'-lanterns. It is just perfect. And I'm excited for it. It was harder to find, probably because it is from 2010. I got this from the Needle Art Closet. She only had one other one, and I know Deanna scooped it up. But she had a lot of great stuff on there, and she was very quick to answer my questions. Great customer service. I was really happy. And I got this pattern. And I even threw in fabric. I had this in my stash, but I threw it in here so that I know this is what I want to stitch in on. It is, picture this, Plus Pickle 32. Because I don't know if you can tell, but this is definitely stitched on a green linen, and I love any excuse to stitch on a colored linen, because there are some patterns that are made for neutrals, and then there are some patterns that just look really awesome when they're put on color. So if the called for is a color, it's gotta go on a color, right? So I'm very excited to do this. If anybody else is stitching this, let me know. I want to see it. I think that is it for the stitching part of this. So if you're just here for the stitching, thanks for coming. I hope I will see you soon. If you are here for the cats, stick around for a little longer. Gonna see if I can grab one. Don't know. It's kind of quiet. We'll see. Okay, so I was not able to grab a Sphynx. They were both bundled up in their blankets, and I did not want to set off their loud meowing. Baby sleeping. My poor girl, she's having a really hard time with her teeth. She's got 4 left, and they're plaguing her. So I'm praying they'll be out soon, but I digress. So Sphynx questions. I'm gonna see, again, maybe a Sphynx picture there. See if I can throw them in since they're not in the video. If I didn't, please excuse my weird, awkward finger point. But let me look at the questions that I got. Jenny Best asked, do they get cold? And do I have special care to take care of their skin? They do get cold. They get very cold. They love anything hot. Anything. Like, I'm talking laptops, heated blankets, my oven after it's been used. Like, anywhere that they think was warm, they gravitate towards. So we have blankets out everywhere for them, and the fluffier the better. And if they see you wrapped up in a blanket, they're going to come to you because it's double the warmth. They're actually warmer than a domestic hairy cat. Their temperature is 101 degrees. When I first brought them to a vet out here, they were the first Sphynx they had ever seen, and they were freaking out because they thought they had fevers. And I was like, no, 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 no. It's all good. That is the temperature they're supposed to be at, because they're trying to make up for the fact that they don't have hair to warm them. The other way that they do that is they eat a lot more than your average cat. An average cat will get fed twice a day, dry food or wet food. If it's a lucky cat, it gets both. My cats need to eat wet food twice a day and have a continuous access to dry food on top of that, because they are making up. Their metabolisms are higher, so they need to eat more to make up for what their body is doing to keep them warm. And as for skin, it may shock you to learn that they are actually really oily. They get oily like we do. So they need baths every week. You think they'd be used to it, but they still complain. I think they handle it better than a cat that's not used to getting weekly baths, but they let me know that they're not happy about this. Their ears need to get cleaned, and their nails I need to clean their little nail beds. And so there's varying degrees of hairlessness. The less hair a Sphynx has, the stickier they are considered. I don't know why, that's just the term. They're not actually sticky. But Nox is stickier than Luna. And Luna has hair around her eyes. So the hair around the eyes takes care of any like crust. Like when you wake up in the morning and you've got eye crust, her hair takes care of that. Nox does not. So his eyes need a little care too. So Sphynxes are a little care intensive, but they're worth it. And then Katie from Crafty Peacock asked me if Sphynx cats are bred for the wrinkles, like a certain breed of dog. I think she said Sharpei. If they are, I'm not aware of it. What I do know that they're bred, like what people look for, is coloring. So Nox is a pure brown, a pure black Sphynx, black all over. Luna is a blue tuxedo. So like a cat with hair, she's actually gray. So if her hair was to grow in, it would be like that blue, Russian blue kind of gray. And I know there's a bunch of different colors. There is an orange, there's like that whitish pink, some of them have stripes. It's all very interesting. But that's what I see people looking for, not necessarily the wrinkles. I can tell you that they grow into the wrinkles. When we first got Luna and Nox, they were so wrinkly. They looked like little aliens. And then as they got older, the wrinkles kind of stretched out because they grew into that wrinkle. It's fun. It's cute. I'm gonna see if I can find cute pictures of them. And then Two Dragons Mom, Kay, asked me if their tails are longer than other cats. They're not. They're just, you just see more tail because there's no fur hiding it. But if you were to look at other cats and hold their tails out, they would be the same. It's just harder to tell. And I feel like that's the same thing with a lot of the cats. Like their personalities are different, but cats with hair aren't so different from the Sphynxes. If you were to shave a furry cat, they would look kind of similar. Less wrinkles, but similar. And you wouldn't have all that skin care that you need to have done. And I actually think that's it. So, if anyone else has any Sphynx questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Other than that, I hope everybody stays safe. And I will see you next time. I think I'm going to try to do my videos twice a month, like on the 1st and the 15th, you know, like payday. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I think that way I can have more to talk to you about at one shot, more to show you, and make it easier for your Flosstube watching, because there are a lot of videos out there, and they're all really good. So, I'm not going to bombard you too much. But on that note, have a great rest of the week, and I can't wait to see all your stitching.